Hello and welcome to today's video on interview questions for science graduate in the field of physics and mathematics. Now today's video is going to be a little bit different from the other videos that I have made earlier in physics interview questions and others. Over the years, what I have seen is that the entire trend for asking interview questions as well as for the candidates, those who are answering, has completely changed. The scenario is not the same when earlier you were being asked the questions on general knowledge, on numerical problems or anything mathematical. Yes, they are there, but the thing is that they have changed. Now in this video, I'm going to share all my experiences. Apart from my teaching in physics and mathematics, my current job also demands that I mentor the students and help them to clear the interview questions. And that is to not only to India but across Southeast Asian countries, some of the part of European countries, Spain, Germany, France, taking here India, Thailand, Malaysia, Philippines and a lot. I'm not only going to share my experiences, but I'm going to tell you what are the critical interview questions that will come across, how will you answer, and most importantly some sample answers which you can take it forward as a role model and further customize. Remember that during these days when you are growing up and by the time that you are going and answering the interview question, most importantly you need to understand that why the recruiter is asking the question. What is the definite motto and what are the things that they are going to check in your capacity or how do you answer them. So remember that it is more of a mind game and it is not a straightforward answer, but you need to understand, identify what exactly is the reason behind asking this question. So I am going to start today's video and divide it in two parts. The first part of the video will contain certain common questions or universal questions which you will face either you are in physics, mathematics, research or any part. These are questions which I have been helping students to answer across the world, especially in campus drives which are being conducted. The second part of the video will have definite questions which are related to physics and mathematics, and as you will see there are certain samples, a lot of complications arises, and I will tell you the exact path in which you can answer and grab your dream job. My name is Shaunak and you are watching this video on my channel Physics for Students. Welcome to this fresh video, interview questions for science graduate in the field of Well, first we start with the universal questions. By the term universal question, I mean to say this is the most common or these are the most common questions which you will face in any kind of an interview. So please do pay attention and look into the way of answering the questions. As you will see, there will be slides and you can later contact me if you need further assistance. The first thing is that tell me about yourself or introduce yourself. Now this is a very simple question. It's a very common question. I think YouTube is flooded with tons and millions of videos, but you need to learn and understand how to answer them and what is the right moment and what is the phase that you are being asked. I will clear up concepts. First of all, tell me about yourself can come as introduce yourself or can I know a little bit about yourself or I would like to know. So all these are basically asking tell me about yourself. Now right to the screen, as you can see, there are two ways or two phases in which this question is asked. Number one is that if you're going for the first time for the interview or if you have sent your resume already. Now what I'm trying to say is that if you're going for the first time in the interview, that means you have a resume in your hand and the interviewer is waiting. You open the door with a nice smile and then you walk inside. So if you're asking that, okay, Shaunak, tell me about yourself. Remember that it is for the first time when you're walking inside, so the interviewer does not know anything about you. So the thing is that what you need to do is that you need to talk or you need to tell about yourself in the sequence what the resume is written. I again repeat, in the sequence where the resume is written. That means you start first your name, then maybe a little bit about yourself, then your professional, then your academic, then maybe your hobbies, your projects, etc. If you are going on the other way, that means you start about your professional with your name, and then your professional, then your hobbies, then your project. Then the person who is taking your interview, when they are looking into the resume, they will get confused. Because at the bottom you have written about your academic, at the middle you have written about your projects. How will I understand that in which page or on which paragraph you are talking? So the basic idea is that you need to speak in the sequence so that the recruiter can go through phase by phase and can tally what you are saying and what you have written. Also, I would like to give you an advice that please go through the grammatical spelling errors of your resume, because in my inbox every day I received almost 140 to 150 resumes and I see a lot of silly mistakes. So what you are speaking and what you are writing should match, should be in a proper sequence, and should tally with your ideas and thoughts. So number one, when you're going for the first time, remember that you need to speak in a proper sequence in which your resume is written, so it should tally. Number two, if you have already sent the resume, for example, you have sent it 2 days, 3 days earlier, or maybe even 15 days earlier, or maybe just 10 minutes earlier, that means it is assumed, we can assume that the recruiter already knows about you. Now, if the recruiter knows about your name, where you stay, your academic qualification, why he or she is asking, tell me about yourself or introduce yourself? You need to think. So phase 2 is that if the recruiter already knows about you, then they expect you that you speak something which is not written in the resume. I repeat, it is not written in the resume. That means they want to engage in maybe a discussion. You talk about your hobbies, your passions, or your motivation, or what brings you to that particular college or university. So point number 2 is that if you're going where you have already sent the resume, please do not repeat what is written, because that won't be which I already know, something which I have already given. I repeat, point number 1, if you're going for the first time, talk in the sequence in which your resume is written, and that should be a parity between your talking and writing. Point number 2, if you're going beforehand, if you have sent the resume, then you need to talk something else which is not about the resume, because the recruiter wants to know something else, maybe about your hobbies, motivation, whatever, but something which is not in the resume. This is something very important. Identify the phase. The second very universal question which comes across is that why you want to become a teacher. Now this is so common that most of the students, they make a mistake. Why you want to become a teacher, or for example, write on your screen what brings you to teaching, why teaching, why not other profession, what factors motivate you towards teaching. All this question boils down to one point: why you want to become a teacher. So it might come in any of those ways. Now, first of all, the mistake that students make, even if you ask me that, Shaunak, sir, why are you into teaching? Why you love mathematics? I would say, my entire life has been in mathematics. My father has been from IIT. He has done research in rocket technologies, etc. So that is why I am into teaching. But on the interview board, this is not what the recruiter wants to know. So right on the screen, I would show you what are the things that you should not tell. Number 1, please do not talk about I love teaching, teaching is my passion, teaching is the noblest profession, I grew up watching my parents, I'm very passionate about teaching, all those things. So please do not speak about all those things, because the recruiter is not interested to know how much you love teaching. That's the point. Do not talk anything about your passions, emotions to know. And remember, this is the biggest mistake that all the students make, that initially we burst out of emotion and we start speaking about your emotions. So point number 1, this is something which you should not speak. Now, what are the things that you should speak? Here right on the screen is that what change will you bring in the classroom? What method you will follow? What makes you unique? How your teaching is going to impact, and what tangible difference is you are going to bring. I can assure you, whether you're going as a research fellow or as a mathematics teacher or a data analyst, anything, why you want to become a teacher, or why you want to become a data scientist, why you want to become a researcher, it can be anything. This is the general model that I have taken. So in any of those phases, why you want to become a researcher, data scientist, anything, or go into quantum computing, you need to tell that you want to do that because your knowledge, your skills will bring a change. Let me cite you an example. Now there are 10 people who are being interviewed as a mathematics teacher. I might ask you why you want to become a teacher. So your answer would be, well, most of the students in mathematics, they have a mathophobia or they fear mathematics, and my way of teaching is going to remove those fear. Most of the students, they really don't know what is trigonometry, or they try to memorize the formula of trigonometry, the angles, the sine thetas, etc. And my teaching is going to make a method, maybe a rhyme or maybe a song, through which they can remember the formulas, they can remember the angles of the triangle, they would remember all the formulas of algebra, something like that. It can also happen that your teaching is so effective that you make a qualitative change. Qualitative change what? For example, nowadays I see that students do not read anything other than their textbook. So you as a teacher, or you as a data scientist, you as a researcher can contribute something to the college or the university so that your method of teaching imbibes a kind of enthusiasm that the students are going to the library, they're reading books, they're reading something which is extra. So you inculcate a good habit. What is that habit? Reading books other than textbooks. So whether it is in physics, mathematics, geography, science, political science, research, whatever, remember that it is important that why you are teaching, because your method is going to make a substantial difference in the classroom. Mind it, my dear viewers, this is the simplest question but comes as a very difficult difference you can make. It is not that, okay, I will teach great, I will do data science great, I will become a great researcher, I can do quantum computing. Everybody does that. But the question is that what is the difference you are going to make? Will your research create some impact to the society? Will your research is going to bring light and food and water to the people in the villages? Is it going to create a new era in space science or quantum mechanics? And what makes you unique, and what are the methods that you follow? So in case of teaching data science, research, quantum computing, whatever you do, there is a definitive method, right? I mean to say, some people use charts, some people use quizzes, some people use, I would say, audio videos, social media, whatever, but there should be a method. And that method should create an impact, and that impact should be something tangible which the interviewer can see. So I can talk a lot about this particular question, because in general in my webinars I almost talk about 45 minutes on why you want to become a teacher, because this is the central bottleneck. Once you clear that, you will be very important. So remember, this is a crucial point. It sounds to be easy, but this is a very tricky. Next question which comes is that why should I hire you? Now this is something related to the earlier one, that why you want to become a teacher. So once you know why you want to become a teacher or a data scientist or a researcher or whatsoever, then you can tell that these are the reasons on which you should hire me. See, hiring means that they want to really know, the objective behind this question is that what are the strengths that you have. So you need to talk more and more about your strengths. And those strengths are not just I am a good teacher, I have been into teaching, etc., but something you can quantify, something which is tangible, something which is unique, and something which is going to create an impact. Remember, at the end of the day, it boils down to one thing. I am paying you whatever in research, etc., and what is the output that you are going to do. It really doesn't come that I am paying you and you are doing, I mean to say, I am not interested. The university or the college is not interested. Even in terms of researcher, where the college or the university is sponsoring you to do a research, remember the output is required. So the hiring should be, why I should hire you is that you should be clearly able to articulate what you want and what are the things are positive, and these things are going to bring a change. Which comes, why you want to work with us. Right on the screen you can see there are alternatives which are given. Why do you want to work with us? What do you know about us? What brings you to us? How you can contribute to our brand, and what opportunities you see in our institution. Now this is something which most of the research organization, colleges, universities, wherever and whatsoever job that you are going, this will be asked. What does that mean is that the institute expects that you know about them. And how will you know about them? That will only be clear when you do research, research and research. Right on the screen I am going to show you now few points which are very important. Number one, customize your skills so that it matches with their need. That means your skills should not be only your skills. You can be the first man or woman to walk on Mars. You can be a Nobel laureate. You can be a great scientist, but hardly matters. The question is that why do you want to work with us means, are your skills matching with the need that I have? Are your skills are good enough which is going to create an impact to my college or university? So customize your skills. So you see I have been into research, pure mathematics, quantum computing, quantum mechanics, and I want to work with you because I know your library, your facility, your lab, your experiments also has something related to quantum computing, quantum mechanics or research or pure mathematical research or astrophysics or astronomy. That means you are showing that your skills, whatever you have, is definitely matching with whatever they have, and they feel okay. So this guy, this candidate really knows what we have, and that is how we see that his skills or her skills are matching with us. Research, research and research. As I always tell that a resume just cannot be sent just like that. So also you cannot go to an interview very casually. You need to do a research, you need to find out what is the philosophy, what is the idea of that organization. And remember the third point, what you are is not important. How your skills are going to benefit them, that is important. As I told you, you can be a Nobel laureate, you can be anybody, but what is important is that how your skills are going to impact them, and that can only be done when you do a proper research. And finally, your skills, their need should be a link. That means whatever your skills are, that should link with their need. So you have a library, sir, and my habit is into reading. You have a great experiment lab in quantum computing and thermodynamics, in solid state physics, whatever. And you see my skills are this. And that is the reason I would like to work with you, because I can use my skills for the benefit of your students, your brand, your research, your organization, and your faculty members. Not important how your skills are going to affect them, and that is important. So tell about them, what they are, and how your skills are going to match with that. So in this part of the video, these are the universal general questions which are being asked. In the next part of the video coming up is specifically questions which are related to physics and mathematics, coming up into the next part of the video. Teaching method. Now I am going to divide the set of questions in this part of the video in different ways. The first is that teaching method. Now right now on the screen you see your question. Describe a teaching method you find most effective to explain complex mathematical concepts to high school students. So you see I have highlighted, they are asking for the teaching method. What is the aim of the question? You can see on the screen. They are going to assess your understanding of pedagogy, abilities to communicate complex ideas effectively. The interviewer wants to gauge your teaching and philosophy and your capacity to adapt teaching methods. As I told you right at the beginning of the video, is that you need to first identify why they are asking you the question. Just in an interview, tell me about yourself in different phases. So they want to know whether you understand the pedagogy and how, in which way you communicate complex things. I will show you the sample answer right on your screen. Use real world applications, demonstrate their practical relevance. This is very important. So in order to explain, say for example, if you talk of me, how do I explain complex things like differential geometry, like general theory of relativity, Christoffel symbols, and topology, most importantly, how do I demonstrate? So you see my channel. Why? Because this is a unique way of demonstration which I do. So what is the way? You can use millions of methods. You can use audio, visual, social media, writing, using directly scientific models. So this is right on the screen. For example, when teaching calculus, I often incorporate real world scenarios such as motion problems or optimization problems. Yes. While you're teaching calculus, you can definitely use certain methods and techniques through which you can demonstrate them. Number two, to engage on hands-on problem solving tasks that require critical thinking. So you can definitely engage into critical thinking by using these hands-on experience. By integrating real-world applications and problem solving, I aim to empower students to become confident and proficient in applying mathematics concepts to solve problems both inside and outside classroom. This answer is truly great. That means you are empowering the students in order to solve problems both inside and outside the classroom. Outside the classroom means daily and general life. So any complex concepts, you can take it up as a limit, differential calculus, topology, thermodynamics, anything, and you need to design and tell them what is the method. So you can use real world application, you can use demonstrate practical relevance, you can use models, you can show them videos whatsoever, but the idea is that how will you be able to communicate these things effectively, and the interviewer is looking forward so that they can gauge what your teaching philosophy and whether you can understand the concept. Only when you get the concepts very right, then only you can explain them in a specific manner. So point number one, this is a question of a teaching method. That means your method of teaching actually should be very effective, and that is what most of the universities and colleges, they look forward. Now in the next part question is that what will happen, I would say what would be the question other than the teaching method when it comes in terms of understanding, coming up in the next. Here is what we call conceptual understanding, and I can tell you this is very evident in any discipline. Not only maths and physics, but it will be asked and it will be judged. So example is this: explain the concept of vector calculus and its application in physics. Now you see there are two parts of the question. One is that they are asking you whether you know the concept of vector calculus, and second is that your applications in physics. Both are related to conceptual understanding. You see, it is nothing related to teaching. Both are related to conceptual understanding. One is your understanding, then your understanding relation to the current to the daily world. So what the question aims, right on the screen you can see it evaluates your in-depth understanding in both physics and mathematics, evaluates your ability to relate mathematical concepts to real world application, assesses your proficiency in teaching advanced topics, assuming that vector calculus is an advanced topic. So you see that it evaluates your depth of understanding and how you can relate it. Both mathematics and physics is coming. So it is assumed that if you know this, you will be knowing a little bit of that also. I mean to say physics and mathematics. What are the sample answers? Look into this. You need to tell what is vector calculus first of all, and you need to tell that it combines both the concepts of calculus and linear algebra. Remember, whenever there is a key concept or a conceptual question is being asked to you, remember you need to at least touch base the key factors on that area. For example, vector calculus, it can be differential equations, it can be anything. I understand it's a huge area, but at least touch base the key ingredients so that the interviewer understands, the interviewee is good enough to understand the concept. So you need to touch a little bit on what are vector fields, gradient, divergence and curl. I think these are the most important factors, right? How do you say? Now what are the applications? Right on the screen you can see mechanics, electromagnetism, fluid dynamics and quantum mechanics. So you see, you have connected very well to the real life application. You have also demonstrated that you really understand what is vector calculus. You have also told what are the key areas of vector calculus and how these will be taken. That means it is all done, that you know the physics part, you know the mathematics part, and you also know how to relate. And this is the way whenever any kind of a conceptual question is asking, even they don't ask you about their real world applications, I would request you at least cite some examples, even if it is a very abstract subject, some examples related to real world application, because the conceptual understanding is not only on the bookish part but also your ability to relate it to the sub is what is called the pedagogical approach. Now pedagogical approach means that what is the method and how do you do. Coming up right on the screen as you can see, how do you integrate technology and digital resources into your teaching of physics and mathematics? Very true. Now technology is nowadays everything. You are watching this probably on a mobile or a tablet or PC or laptop. So this is also technology. So it cannot happen that my teaching is only a traditional way of teaching. I have to integrate that with the technology. So that actually talks of the pedagogy of teaching. Right on the screen, what the question aims is that it evaluates your in-depth understanding, both mathematics and physics, your ability to leverage digital resources to enhance teaching and learning, and your adaptability to incorporate innovative tools and methods into their pedagogical approach. So actually it aims that whether you are very aware about the current technology and how you can relate interdisciplinary relation between those concepts and the answer. So what could be the sample answer? Let us see. I recognize the importance of integrating technology into the classroom to enhance student engagement and facilitate deeper understanding of complex concepts. I plan to utilize interactive simulations, educational apps and online resources to supplement traditional instruction. So in case of very complex concept, what you are telling is that you are engaging students, you are empowering them and you are utilizing them. Few sample answers which you can take forward in your customizing them in your future interview questions. So integrating technology and digital resources, key aspect of instructional approach. I believe it is essential to leverage technology and enhance student engagement. So you see what are the important features or points. Number one is interactive simulations. Number two are online resources, online assessments, flipped classroom model and professional development. In US, etc., I've seen that most of the colleges, schools, universities, they give a flipped classroom. That means gone are those days when you are just watching those boring lectures, etc. You can watch the lectures, etc. at home, and you can do your homework, and the classroom is meant only for engagement, for talking, for interaction, for solving queries. I think that is a wonderful scientific method, because when you go back home, you do your homework, but in the class, the best time, 45 minutes or 1 hour, whatever you're getting with your professor, is the time when you can interact, the time when you see your professor, you talk and clear your doubts. If within that 45 minutes, a different way of doing the classes. I think it is not very prevalent in India. I'm not aware, but US, etc., Thailand, Vietnam, I have seen, they always follow a flipped class method. So more learning, interaction, talking, problem solving in the classes, and the entire learning, lectures, videos are done in the flipped classroom. So this could also be a very good way you can think to integrate, provided your university gives you the permission. And online resources are there, online assessments are there. The basic idea, remember, is not to enhance or talk too much about the current technologies, smart boards, etc. But just to tell them that I am aware about the technologies, I am aware about the concepts of physics and mathematics, and this is how I can do, which is going to impact and create a better understanding in the classroom. So this is what we talk about. How do you plan to integrate? Now when you talk of integrating, or automatically obviously there are complex problems, and what are those complex problems leading to? Watch it out in the next part. So you see what I am trying to tell are problem solving skills, and this is the question. Provide an example of a challenging physics problems and explain how would you guide it and a student in solving it. Now remember, the question tells not you to solve. The question asks you that you have a challenging problem and your method of guiding the students, not solving them. Most of the time in India, I've seen that the teachers, they solve the problem. No, you need to guide it. So here are few of the sample answers. Our challenging physics problem that I could represent in students is the calculation of the trajectory of a projectile. Because you see, in trajectory what happens, physics, mathematics, everything is being done, the motion of the projectile, etc. So the problem integrates concept from both physics and mathematics and requires a systematic approach. So what would you do? Number one, as you can see on the screen, understand the problem, break down the problem, apply the kinematic equations, utilize trigonometry, consider external factors, and check and interpret results. I think this is a very unique thing which you can do, because it will show the motion of the body, it will use trigonometry, it will use lot of stuff, and it will also help the students to understand how things work. This is actually what is called a challenging problem. which will include both physics and mathematics. And remember, the key area or the key mantra is what? You are guiding. So what the guidance, what it comes right on the screen, you see, you need to break down it into steps. So first would be the kinematics, and you can give them a fair brush up of the projectile motion, displacement, velocity. Then you can introduce air resistance and things like that. And then you can solve the equation conceptually, and you can tell them that solving the different equations requires advanced mathematics like calculus. However, we can solve it qualitatively, initially air resistance, etc., leading to trajectory for the projectile motion case. So this is a very unique way of designing and showing them. I mean to say, we are talking again of physics and mathematics. If it is data science, quantum physics, you can make notions of your own. So this is a problem which will solve both physics, both mathematics, guiding them. That means you're just showing them how to break them in steps. You're not solving them. You break down in steps, you do this, you do that, things are being done. It's a very unique thing. It actually says that the problem solving ability for you as a teacher or a mentor or a scientist is not solving the problem but guiding them effectively. And the question basically, what does it aim? As I told you, the question basically aims in order to know that whether you can guide or whether you can solve. If you're a solver, I'm not interested. If you're a guide, I'm interested. So these are the ways in which you can show that you can break things and how you can take things apart. Now when you are breaking things and when you're taking things apart, you will see that all the students are not always taking things in the right spirit. I mean to say, they are not naughty, but they are unable to understand and do things in the right fashion. So how do you do, and what I'm trying to mean coming up into the next part of the video. Hint in the earlier part of the question. What I am talking about is this: adaptability and innovation. And a typical question can be this one: how would you modify your teaching approach to accommodate students with varying learning styles and abilities? Remember, this is a era of inclusive education. So an autistic student or a special child, if he or he is walking inside your classroom, you cannot just tell that, no, you are a special child, I won't be able to take you in the classroom. No, the government is making the rules, especially India and other places, this is already there, that you have to teach or at least entertain what we call is a special children. So different varying styles means that you cannot have a typical classroom curriculum and you will teach them and the students are going to understand. No, there are students who are lesser abilities, greater abilities. Question aims in order to make you understand or make you know that how your abilities are flexible. So adaptability, because all students are not brilliant, and the way of learning style has to be done. Here is a sample answer. In my teaching approach, I recognize the importance of accommodating students with varying learning styles and abilities to ensure inclusive and effective instruction. Here is how I would modify my teaching approach. So the first part of the question acknowledges or makes the recruiter happy that yes, I am going to teach the special children, not only special children, people who are not very brilliant, people who are students who are dumb, students who are not going well along with that. So how I am acknowledging them, that yes, I am going to teach. And the second part is that I have a specific method, I have a specific style. What are those methods? Let us see. Differentiated instruction, varied instructional strategies, flexible grouping, personalized learning opportunities, individual support and feedback, and continuous assessment and reflection. In my profession also, I see all the teachers are actually doing that. Differentiated instruction means it cannot be that you have a specific instruction, you have a prototype instruction and you expect all your students to follow. No, it is not going to happen. For students, everybody has difficulties and problems. Varied instructional strategies, because you start the classroom in a way, after 15 minutes you see the classes are not going on the right way, so you need to change it. You need to group the students in flexible manner, in different manner, because I might not be very good with those 2-3 boys and girls. So as a teacher, as an instruction, you need to identify that and you need to put them into the flexible group. personalized learning opportunities, especially for people who have got varied learning abilities. You need to customize, personalize, and you should have process individual support and continuous assessment and reflection, because only doing a differentiated learning or differentiated instruction is not going to help. You need to assess and you need to gauge that what actually is happening, whether your differentiated learning or instruction or all those flexible grouping and personalized learning is at all helping them or not. How will you gauge whether they are helping them or not? And that is the way you have to continuously assess, and you have to find out what is, I mean to say, some part which is missing in this part of the question. Coming up in the next part of the video, the missing thing or fill in what I was talking, curriculum development. Now understand that if you are dealing with a group which is a very heterogeneous group, which is not homogeneous, they have varied learning abilities, etc., then the curriculum also has to be developed in such a manner. What the interviewer is asking is this one: propose a project-based learning activity that integrates both physics and mathematics concepts for high school students. What is the aim of this question? Look into this. Assess your creativity and innovation, assessing your interdisciplinary learning experiences that integrates maths and physics, how you can promote cross-disciplinary connections and deeper understanding of both subjects. That means even if it is a project-based learning, how do you integrate both physics and mathematics? That means they are basically asking you whether you can assess that creativity, you do have the creativity, and interdisciplinary, I mean to say mathematics part and physics part, how they can be integrated. Remember, this can be true for anything also. I mean to say chemistry and mathematics also, or maybe data science and machine learning also. So anywhere there can be an interdisciplinary question. You have to be aware. When it comes to integration, your answer should reflect that interdisciplinary amalgamation, I would say, how you can connect them. So here is basically what I would propose. This is just a proposal. You can design what is called a Rube-Goldberg machine. And this Rube-Goldberg machine actually, I'm going to say, gives different steps to do that. Because you see, in Rube-Goldberg machine, what happens typically is that you get into what is called a trigonometry. You also aim into kinematics. You teach the Newton's law of motion. And most importantly, Rube-Goldberg machine is something which is difficult to design, but you can get into groups. That means you are also promoting group activities. While making that machine, either you can hoist it over a wall or a cardboard or something. That means people are coming, students are coming. And these students again have got varied learning experiences. So your curriculum is teaching somebody who cannot do that. You can say, hold this one, stick this one, balance this one. Development, making a Goldberg machine or anything like that. You can make a pendulum, whatsoever. But these would include trigonometry, algebra, kinematics, Newton's law of motions, team management, team cooperation, and that is how you do. So curriculum development actually would be including these aspects of creativity, and you have to have, when you're going for the interview, at least one thing in mind, that what would I cite as an example if they give me this kind of a question, a project based or any kind of a design experiments and experiment lab, what I'm going to do. You can tell numerous sample examples from physics and mathematics, I'm just a physics, but remember, you need to also justify that this is how it is going to justify the question, that is it integrating? Is it going to create an impact? Is it something unique in curriculum development? How this varied learning experiences is going to prove this, and how you're taking all the students in together. Now, when I talk of taking all the students together, there is something which comes in the classroom management. This is a very important thing for all teachers and mentors. And here is a question: how would you handle a disruptive behavior in your physics and mathematics classroom? I mean to say, there cannot be any teacher who has not fed a disruptive classroom. So the sample answer is this one: when faced with disruptive students' behavior in my physics or mathematics classroom, my approach is to address the behavior promptly and effectively while maintaining a positive and supportive learning. Here is how would I do. Now, the thing is that very important, that you have to respond promptly. It cannot be that a disruptive classroom carries on and you carry on with your teaching or training. No, because that is going to disturb the rest of the crowd, rest of the students, right? So first is non-verbal clues, something like stay quiet, shh, don't speak, something like that. Then you can engage into a private conversation in the sense that you take that troublesome student or the candidate out and speak, hey, come on, I think you know more than me, so why don't you help others, something like that. And you can also set clear expectation that these are the rules and you're going to follow. Offer support and guidance, and if it at all does not work, then you can engage into what is called a parent-guardian communication or guardian communication. You can tell that these are the things, but you need to address that immediately. If the non-verbal things doesn't work out, take them out privately, because talking in front of them, or even I'm not saying that you're scolding, whatever you're saying in front of other people actually humiliates, actually takes down the ego. It feels bad that I am being told by the mentor in front of everybody. Why don't you take that person or that young boy or girl outside and give them a privacy, give them a respect, and talk about them. Now, I'm not going to repeat. These are some of the sample answers right on the screen. If you want, you can email me. I can just send you the answers. So you can pause the video right now and you can take a note of these sample answers. These sample answers are going to help you in order to know more about this. How do you can customize? I am coming to the last question, which is the last part of the video, which is the very important part. That is, you do all those things. You manage classroom, you design, you set expectations, you help them, all those things. But one thing is missing among all of them. And what is that? Coming up into the next part of the video. Assessment and evaluation. Now, this is something very important, because all your efforts will turn out zero if you are not evaluating a particular student. So this is a question. Describe your approach to assessing student understanding and progress in physics and mathematics. So this is very important, because without a proper assessment, you cannot judge or you cannot know how your classes are going throughout the semester. Here are some of the sample answers. My approach to assessing and understanding students in physics and mathematics is multifaceted. That means you have various ways of doing, and that is the right way. Incorporating a variety of assessment methods to effectively measure students' mastery of concept, and here is I'm going to assess. So remember, these are all very target-driven questions, and you should have those clues in your hand. Multifaceted, varied, that means the interviewer will understand, okay, great, that means this person has got multiple ways of assessing. It is not this way works, that way. So number one, obviously you can do formative assessment. These are the standard things. I hope I don't need to explain it further. Classroom discussions and questioning. As I see in India, most of the classrooms are engaged only in teaching, teaching and teaching. So why don't we give, as I told, flipped classroom, that you see your videos and you do your homework at home, and in the class it will be only this one, discussion and questioning. Whatever the doubts you have, whatever the questions you have, you discuss in the classroom, and that is done through flipped classroom method. And I would strongly suggest that you do it in the classroom also. Engage with the student in the questioning. Homework and assignments, obviously this is very common. Project and performance tasks is you give them a project along with the homework, do that, and make sure that it is the student that who is doing it. It is not their mothers or their father or anybody else who is doing it, because the project is being done in order to make them integrate the knowledge along with that practical need. Assessment and problem solving skills, obviously it is there, and self and peer assessment. Not here in India, but outside, especially in Malaysia, etc., Singapore, I have seen that each student will have a peer. So peer assessment, that means I am going to teach to my classmate, and he or she is going to learn and ask me questions, so that learning is much better. That is also a process of assessment. Remember, it is not a process of teaching. This is a process of assessment. Then they come together and say that I have taught and she has understood or not understood. What she or he has not understood, again you are going to teach. So that is what is called self and peer assessment. Again, right in the screen, you can take a pause, and these are some of the sample answers. If you want these answers you cannot see on the screen, please email me or WhatsApp me. I'm going to mail you. So in physics class, I might administer a quick quiz at the end of the lesson. I encourage active participation in classroom discussion. In a physics class, students might conduct experiments to investigate the principles and of optics, etc. So that is what would help you in assessment and evaluation, which makes and your learning, teaching. I hope you liked the entire session. So a quick sum up now of today's video. The first thing is that I asked you and I told you that these are the universal questions which are going to come. Why do you want to become a teacher? Why should I hire you? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? I mean to say, I have not discussed all those. And why do you want to work with us? Apart from that, I have segregated this question number 1 in teaching method, which you have already seen. Also conceptual understanding. Remember, when you are answering conceptual understanding, even if the recruiter is not asking, please give them a link with the practical applications of the real world. Pedagogical approach. Then we discussed about problem solving skills. How do you solve problems? Adaptability and innovation. This is very true, because nowadays it is all about adaptability, and you follow the curriculum, you also do the assessment, and how this curriculum finally helps the students to learn. The classroom management, disruptive students handling, etc. And finally assessment and evaluation. So all these things taken together actually gives you an idea that these are the things which are commonly asked. Now there may be numerous other things, but once you see or watch or understand today's video, you can customize them to your learning. Apart from that, there are many subscribers who message me, who send me comments. I'm all okay with that. So I wish you all the best for your upcoming interview in mathematics, physics, or whatever the areas in science. If you are facing any problem, any difficult question, please do write me at my email ID. You can also follow me in my social media, and you can also send me a comment in this video through which I would be able to help you out. So that's all for today's video. Don't forget to subscribe and click on the bell icon to get all the notification from Physics for Students. And I will be back, Physics for Students will be back with more interesting and educated videos. Till then, wish you all the best and happy learning.